This Soonerscoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. Don't miss a moment on or off the field. Make every day a highlight with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIK.
Hello and welcome back. Eddie Radosovich, George Stoya here from the Soonerscoop.com studios. Welcome back to a William and Lauren practice report. Catching up on everything from over the weekend. You can go to WilliamandLauren.com. We've told you about them for basically the last year. You need a suit. George got one. How'd it go?
It was great. Married man.
Very good.
Looks great doing it.
All right, good check-in. Go to WilliamandLauren.com. You can see them in Oklahoma City as well as the brick and mortar in Tulsa, and plenty to get into. We talked to some of the players on Friday afternoon. We talked to Brent Venables, obviously. Yep. Had that instant reaction and kind of the recap from Oklahoma closing out the preseason portion. I guess today, Monday, they don't practice today. So we're kind of getting into the swing of things here with the start of the season, just 12 days away, George.
Yeah, fall camp's pretty much over.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically this week is still camp, but I know that they're kind of getting into some game prep stuff. I don't think they'll be, full tackling as much this week, if at all. I do think some guys from injury are going to be getting back, so that's good.
There.
So I think that it's kind of not a light week necessarily, but certainly not the same as the middle of camp.
Everybody getting their mind right for the start of game week, which is 1 week from today. Obviously, Oklahoma opening up the season on August 30th against Illinois State. We'll get a little bit more into Illinois State as we move forward. I know there's going to be a lot of game planning for the Week 2 Michigan matchup in Norman this week. But as you said, good news on the injury front. When you leave preseason camp, a bunch of minor stuff, and it sounds like they're getting a bunch of guys back this week going into kind of the start of game week.
Yeah, I think the expectation is Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor will both be back. I think Derek Simmons should be back at some point this week. Zion Kearney as well. All those guys kind of dealing with the concussion deal. I think Grayson Halton is on track to be back by week 1. We'll see. I know definitely week 2
should be good news because I think we kind of maybe entered last week thinking, okay, he might be out for the Illinois State game. You'd try to get him back on the field for Michigan, but that would be good news if they get somebody like that back week 1.
For sure. And then Jaden Ott was out at practice on Saturday. He didn't participate in the team period, but he should be full go this week. So a handful of guys, I think are kind of getting back into the groove of things and are getting ready to play in week 1.
All in all, it was good to hear from guys like Sammy Omosigho, Jayden Jackson, Logan Howland, Michael Boganowski, who's been coming on here as of late, as well as Jer'Michael Carter and Will Huggins. Before we get into everything that was said on Friday after practice, let us tell you about our good friends at homefieldapparel.com. The Can't Miss Kickoff 2025. The Platinum boxes are out. First come, first serve for those. All you got to do is go to homefieldapparel.com. That is homefieldapparel.com. The premium collegiate apparel brand based out of Oklahoma City is out of Indianapolis. That'd be interesting. If they want to open a office in Oklahoma City, I'm sure that David Holt would be more than welcome. I know Oklahoma fans, they ate that stuff up last year when home field came through town. Got the football boxes, the coaches' jackets, the bomber jackets, the hats, the crew decks, all officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs. Homefieldapparel.com. Get over there today. All right, let's get into it. Talk to Sammy Omosigho for the first time. I want to say this fall. Was that the first time that we had talked to him since really kind of the start of the season? I know that we talked to him during the spring. Obviously, he goes into his third year, much larger role here in this Oklahoma linebacker core. Yeah,
I mean, he's moved inside, and he's been his first 2 years were kind of topsy-turvy for him in terms of he was playing multiple spots. He, I think originally came in, was going to play, inside backer. They had to move him outside because of the injuries at Cheetah. Same thing in his second year, played some Cheetah for him because they just didn't have a ton of bodies there. And he's so athletic that they like him in that role. But now he's been moved back inside. I think he's been playing extremely well. He's fighting Kobe McKenzie for that starting Mike spot, which I think Kobe is going to start there. But I think you're going to see some of Sammy Omosigho on the field. You could see him and Kobe on the field at the same time. We know Brent Venables likes to do different things, but really sharp guy. I think we all know he's super athletic, but talking to him, very confident in his game, fun guy to be around, and I think somebody that you're going to see him a lot more this year, kind of like what you alluded to.
Really enjoy talking to Sammy Omosigho. Here he is talking about the move inside, getting used to Nate Dreiling, the competition with Kobe McKenzie for that Mike spot. Here is Sammy Omosigho.
It's been a blast. It's been fun. A lot of competition. A lot of work, going through the grind and everything. It's been really good.
Does it feel weird being one of the, I guess, quote-unquote older guys in that room now?
I ain't gonna lie, yes, it has been feeling weird because in my head, I'm still a little bit of a younger guy, but now that the roles have changed and by going to my third season, I'm classified as an older guy now, so I have to step into that role, and it's been a good transition. Oh, that's one of our majors. That you have to be physical to be any good defense. You have to be physical. Any good football player has to be physical. So we make that a priority in our defense to make sure they be the most physical team every time we play.
Kobe said back at the media day a few weeks ago that he told you, like, come take my job, basically. Well, what's it been like battling with him and just kind of sponging off him the last few years, learning from him?
Kobe did say that, and in that way he was talking about that, he was talking that we can make each other better.
Yeah.
In that sense, so me and him been battling now, of course, but it's both people that have been rising to each other to make each other better. Like every time before the drive, he'd be like, "Sam, come on, 7, let's make a play." And same thing for me. Come on, 11, let's make a play to make sure that we're both working together to be the best possible players we can possibly be. I just work with Coach Dryland a bunch to to break down film as the inside backer and just understand what everything is going because it's a different game, and just to be more detailed in my game and everything that I do, more detailed.
How long did it take you to get comfortable being inside?
It's still a lot of learning to do because I'm still trying to learn this bunch. But of course, I'm making some moves because it's been a good fall camp, a lot of reps, a lot of experience that I've gained this fall camp. So it's been good to get better and feel more comfortable myself.
How different is Kip now in terms of being a leader, in terms of being more vocal?
Kip has done an amazing job of entering into that role because from last year he had a great year last year, and coming into this year as a leader, he's done a great job just stepping into that role, being more vocal, and just helping us I'm not a young guy no more, but helping us guys that haven't played as much to really come along and to fit that role that we need to fit. Now, that's amazing. Those two guys are amazing. They fit together, PB&J. It's like you have Coach Dryland. I call him the peanut butter. He's the guy that's just more lively, more like a bunch of jokes and everything. And then you have Coach Goodwin that he knows on his P's and Q's every time. He's a very straightforward guy. But those two guys bring such a diverse side of learning to the game of football. You have Coach Dryland that's really looking on details and really helping us in the meeting room, and Coach Goodwin all over the field, all over the place, just helping us out, just making us better players as linebackers.
You have peanut butter and jelly. You have salt and pepper, right, with Miguel Chavis and Todd Bates. We have nicknames for everybody over there. Excited for Sammy Omosigho, though. It seems like that's going to be a big position for the linebacker core, right, going into this season, and hopefully you build some depth at some point.
Yeah, I think it's certainly something that you really like some of the guys in that room. And obviously you have the two guys that are coming back, but also moving somebody like Sammy inside. Owen Heineke has gotten a lot of buzz, my guy from Bishop Kelly. I know Teddy Lehman really likes him, but also some of the younger guys, James Nesta, it sounds like he's taken a big step in the right direction, during camp. Taylor Himes kind of playing inside, outside. So I think that linebacker group, it just has a lot of guys we haven't seen play a ton, and Sammy's one of them.
And that's a little bit scary, but at the same time, you have a really good defensive line in front of you. That them just showing up and doing what I think a lot of people expect them to do is kind of a boost in and of itself. Sammy talked about it on Friday, just how much better they make them at the linebacker core. One of those reasons, returning freshman All-American Jayden Jackson. First time that we had talked to him, and the expectations were out of this world, right? When you're returning a true freshman like that had the season like he did, it seems like it's taken another level here over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm putting out my kind of biggest risers story from camp on Tuesday morning, which you should sign up. You can read about all the guys I put in there, but Jaden's one of them. And that might come as a surprise just because I think the expectations, like you said, were already extremely high. But everything we've heard coming out of camp so far is that he's been fantastic. He's been arguably maybe their best player on the entire roster through camp. Like, that's how good he's been. And he's a guy that I think that, we talked a lot about David Stone in that class, and obviously it ended up being Jayden, the first true freshman to start on the defensive line for Oklahoma since Tommy Harris, and was fantastic a year ago. But Jayden, it feels like he has just only gotten better and better. You thought maybe he would slow down with the labrum surgery that he had to have back in the spring, but he's been phenomenal and really has solidified himself as not only a starter, but a key player on this defense.
Here is Jaden Jackson talking about coming out of the spring, that he was sidelined, had to kind of learn a little bit more about the defense, took advantage of having to sit out of the spring, and then obviously getting things back underneath him here at the first part of the preseason.
It's been a grind, man. Everybody working, everyone doing their job. A lot of young guys stepping up, doing the roles, and it's going to be a hell of a season. I'm not saying I'm comfortable, but it's just like it's familiar. I'm not going into this raw. Last year I was going into this firsthand. Everything was quicker. Everything is stronger, faster. So this year I kind of have a grasp of what's going to happen this season.
How's it been for you after missing the spring due to that shoulder surgery?
There's always going to be fallback from things like that, but I just need to keep working. I was in the playbook as much as I could be, just trying to do my job as much as possible. It kind of forced me to look deeper into our plays and schemes, see what the DN kind of does here instead of just my job, seeing if a backer's plugged in there, things like that. So it definitely, opened my horizon to our playbook.
What's the biggest difference you've seen in David Stone from last year to this?
Yeah, that man right there most probably improved on the D-tackle group. He had a huge jump, and the coaches have seen that. His grade, we do get graded. His grades have been phenomenal. Just a guy that wants it. Like this season, he definitely wants it, and I feel it. I see it. He's in the film room with the coach the most on the defensive tackle group. So
your D-line group goes pretty crazy, right?
Yes, sir, they do, most definitely. We got a bunch of dogs just hungry, ready to eat. A lot of guys trying to get out of here, trying to get the league ready, and then a lot of young guys trying to step up. So
I think the continued progression of David Stone is going to be tracked here, obviously, during the early portion of the non-conference schedule. But it seems like both those guys, when you brought them in from IMG, they had high expectations. It seems like they're both about to meet those expectations and maybe even then some.
I mean, I think both guys are in for big years. Obviously got to stay healthy and all of that. And remember, David Stone kind of went through some injury stuff last year and kind of played through it. So if those guys can stay healthy, though, man, I think we're going to look up at the end of the season and be like, what could be in their third year?
Sure.
And especially guys that, they could be off to the NFL in a couple years, and that's how good they could be. So it's a defensive line group. You heard Jayden kind of talk about it there. You got Dominic Williams, Grayson Halton. It's a pretty solid group.
We've talked about that interior. I think that now's the time that's just like, get them out there. Let's see what this thing actually looks like. If there's anybody that would probably have a better idea of where this offensive line is at compared to now than where they were coming out of the spring or even into last season, Jaden Jackson was certainly one of those guys. He was obviously asked about Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje. Here is Jaden Jackson talking about the offensive line as a whole, as well as the two-star true freshman offensive lineman.
It's like a tighter group, a lot of communication from everyone on the line, not just the center, guards here and there. A group that is hungry and willing to work. They're trying to outwork the defensive tackles every single day, and it really is like an iron sharpened iron. Like we get in fights, a couple here and there. So,
what stood out to you most about the freshman offensive linemen, Ryan and Michael?
Oh my, them dudes are gonna be boys, man. Them. Giving the work to me, Dom, G, about anyone out here, bro. They really the best to do it. Like they're really coming up, and they pick up their game really well. They can recognize backers coming down and just things like that a freshman shouldn't be. So yeah.
Them dudes are boys. I like that saying. I'm going to use that quite a few times this year.
Who was the last? I was going to ask you this, and this is taking us a little off topic, but who's the last true freshman to start on the offensive line for Oklahoma in game one?
From game one? From the get-go? I think we've looked this up before, and Carrie, feel free to chime in. That was going to be my guess. Drew Samia. He was the first freshman to start under Bill. I don't know about game one, day one.
And Orlando Brown was a redshirt freshman.
Sure.
Right?
I don't know if there's been a guy
under Bill Beaterbow. I don't think there has
as a true freshman.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. Maybe with Jacob Sexton coming back, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Fasusi. Ryan Foje, has mostly been playing at right guard unless they move Fabechi to left. I don't think Foje is going to start game one. So I don't know. It's a thing, though, that I think is certainly worth paying attention to and will be interesting when the depth chart comes out.
Logan Howland came and spoke with the media on Friday as well. We really hadn't talked to him since coming out of the spring, having, much like Jaden Jackson, having to be sidelined, working through some shoulder issues. I believe it was that sidelined him and Heath Ozida. We talked about them all year last year being thrown into a bad situation, but it certainly sounds like when you hear from Logan Howland that he's kind of pleased where he's at right now, and certainly seems like might be a guy that ends up in Oklahoma starting unit.
Yeah, I think coming into camp, there was a lot of people that said, oh, well, Logan's fighting for the starting job at left tackle. Turns out he's fighting for it at right tackle, and some of that's because of the injuries that they've had in camp, but it's also a position that some people think maybe is his natural position, is playing at right tackle. So he's been getting a lot of reps there. Flipping is not an easy thing to do, so I think he may have struggled the first couple times over there, but ever since then, it sounds like he's kind of found a groove, and it's kind of like the Fasusi question. With when Derek Simmons comes back, Jacob Sexton's back, Jake Taylor, guys that were presumed to be starters or fighting for starting roles, all of a sudden Fasusi and Howland have gotten all those reps this past week. What does that look like? Do those guys give up those jobs? And Howland's one of those guys that I don't know if he'll be a starter, but he's certainly going to have an opportunity early in the season to prove himself.
Here is Logan Howland talking about coming out of the spring, getting his feet back underneath him, and then just kind of moving forward what he sees his role is and flip it on the other side. Is it going to be a difficulty going from left to right?
Great, you miss it a lot when you're not out there with teammates, but rehab was good. It's good to be back out here.
What'd you learn maybe during the spring as you're going through rehab, you're not able to go through practice?
You enjoy the moment while you got, because you never know when your time's coming. Luckily for me, I was able to get back on the field, but you never know when your time's done.
How valuable was that experience last year?
That was awesome. Like you said, thrown into the fire. I wouldn't really say thrown into the fire. We just got to be ready when your time's come. But definitely it was a valuable experience.
Logan, how much more depth do you feel like this offensive line has maybe this year versus last year?
I think we got a lot of experience coming back along with depth. Guys coming in who played 20 plus, 30 plus games in their college career. So I think there's a lot more depth.
How about leadership in that room? What's maybe the difference this year versus last year?
We have new guys coming in, obviously, but Troy has been a great leader, always has been since he's been here, and so has Fabecci.
Logan, we've heard just how impressive Boj and Fasusi have been. How have they impressed you?
They're awesome. They come to work every day. They know what they're doing. If they make a mistake, they correct it, and they have a great mindset.
I would also add, too, that, and we didn't put it in the video there, but extremely complimentary of Fabecci Wewu, that, that's kind of been a constant theme here over the last couple of weeks. And he even started a little bit with Bill Beatabo talking about how good of a preseason he's had, a guy that last year obviously played a ton for Oklahoma. Sounds like he's had a really good preseason going into what should be a better second year in Norman.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people out there want to say Fabecci's not any good and he got pushed around last year, and he did get pushed around at times last year. He's also the only guy that started every single game for Oklahoma, and I believe was their highest graded offensive lineman a year ago on Pro Football Focus. So I think, for him, it was a huge adjustment. I mean, he was thrown into the fire last year, coming from North Texas. He'd never played at this level. It sounds like a full offseason, again, with Oklahoma. Having last year under his belt, he's really taken another big step.
You mentioned you have a article coming out about guys that have kind of made a big name for themselves here during the preseason. We talked about Reggie Powers a couple weeks ago. How about his roommate, Michael Boganowski? It certainly seems like Mr. Boganowski's in line to play quite a bit for this Oklahoma defense this year.
I love Michael Boganowski, man. Like, one, it's just his name rocks.
Sure.
His dad is awesome.
Sure.
I know we've run into Big Mike several times. And the way he plays, Eddie, like, that's how the safety position is meant to be played. So I expect big things from him. He's playing behind Robert Spears-Jennings right now, which obviously Robert's going to get a ton of snaps. But I do think that, and we've seen it with Brent in the past, they like to rotate guys. They don't want somebody playing every single snap. Last year, you saw Billy Bowman play just about every single snap. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. So I do think we're going to see more of Boganowski. And it was Brent, I think it was not the last time we talked to him, but the time before that he said that Boganowski's in a different solar system this year than he was last year as a true freshman. We saw the glimpses. Now it's kind of like Reggie Powers. Can he take it to the next level?
Here is Michael Boganowski talking about a bigger opportunity in 2025.
I know we're all pushing each other to be better, calling each other up, telling each other when we're slacking, when we need to do more. So being able to say that to my brothers, it's a big thing for sure. And I expect them to do the same to me.
What's the competition level been like in practice, just with the defense and the offense, just kind of going at it every day?
I'd say it's been at an all-time high. We know we're faced this season, so we know we got to bring it every day just to prepare ourselves for that. Kind of my first year, just getting to know the ropes. Got to learn from a guy like Billy Bowman, so really just taking in everything he had to say and learn from him and really just take what he taught me and use that in the next year for sure.
What has fall camp been like for you, just getting more familiar with this defense and everything?
It's been great. Last year, freshman, you kind of learn everything, but this camp, I know everything, so it's kind of just taking that next step and playing the game within the game.
You're one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitter on defense. Is that like a compliment to you, and where does that come from?
I say, I just how I play the game. I've always kind of been that way. Whenever it's whenever I have to go make a tackle, just go hit him as hard as you can. Kind of how I've always been.
How much fun is it to be going through this with Reggie?
That's my dog. Probably I'm close to him on the defense, so being able to play with him, it's great. Talking to each other on the field is just like we're in the dorms or something. So it's great.
1A, 1B, when you're talking about guys that are expected to make major contributions that I think people are really excited to see come August 30th. How about a couple of new guys as well? Jer'Michael Carter talked to the media on Friday, as well as Will Huggins. Obviously, somewhat different stories, but I guess kind of in the same vein when you're talking about Oklahoma's hoping that they found some guys, identified some guys in the portal that are going to be able to come in and help this offense.
They're both, you mentioned it, Eddie, they're kind of in the same situation where, in the receiver room, you kind of know what you got in Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania, some of those guys, but who's going to be that third guy, that fourth guy, fifth guy, whatever, and Jer'Michael's kind of in that mix. He's had a really solid camp. I think he kind of had a slow start. Obviously he wasn't here for spring ball, so he had to get ramped up quickly. And now all of a sudden you're hearing his name. Oh, he's made some plays in the scrimmages. Oh, he made some plays in the last couple practices. So he's fighting for some playing time. Will Huggins, kind of the same thing. He's in a position in the tight end room where no one really knows what to expect. He's pushing for a starting job alongside Jaron Canick and Carson Kent, Caden Helms as well in there, Cade McIntyre. And I do think Will Huggins is going to play quite a bit, but what kind of role will he have? He's the biggest guy they've got in that room. He's not much of a pass catcher, though I have heard he's done a nice job in that regard, more of a blocking guy. So they're both trying to find a role on this team right now.
Here is Jer'Michael Carter talking about the obvious differences that will probably come with making the move from McNeese State, as well as Will Huggins settling in at the tight end position where there is plenty of opportunity.
What was the portal process like for you, and how did you ultimately choose to be here?
It was really different. Like, I ain't really know how the process would be, and that was my first time.
Yeah.
It was really different. Like, I seen a lot of coaches, heard a lot of things. So, and this, I brought my heart here, and like I felt it with Coach V and all the coaches. It was a different mindset. Really, all the receiving room, all the boys around me, really the whole offense. Transitioning from McNeese to SEC is really a big transition. So I say guys like Burks, Zion Kearney, Ivan Carrion, all of them helped me learn the playbook. All of them contributed in me learning the process.
Has it been better than you thought it would be?
Yeah, way better. Like, it's been exactly what I thought it would be. Like, I came in here with the mindset where I have to work. So like, they've been giving me the mindset like, work, just keep working, and it's gonna show off one day.
And from Louisiana, was it always a goal of yours to play in the SEC?
Yes, for sure. Like, really, I was a low recruit. Like, I really had one offer out of high school, so getting a lot of offers in the transfer portal, like, it really was overwhelming, but I really stuck to it and kept my head focused.
I think we're very far along. Spring was, we all had just gotten in. Obviously, we had Caden and Cade who were already here, but other than that, it was all new guys, so we were all learning it together, and I think it went really well. Summer helped us get along well, and this fall we're taking huge steps.
Kind of the psychology of the tight end room, just in that you guys are close, but every day with as many new guys as there are within that room, you're all battling for playing time at the same time.
That's football. I mean, you want to be close, but you're also battling the guy next to you, and that's the name of the game. We all know somebody's going to be named a starter, somebody's going to be the 2, somebody's going to be the 3. It comes down to, do we all know the offense the same? Are we all is the next guy going to be ready if somebody goes down, if something happens? And that's what it takes to win a championship. You have to all be there for the same goal, and you have to all have the same goal in mind, because that's what it takes. And that's how you build a good team, is everybody knows a role. You have to have a role on offense and a defense and anything and on a team. And as long as you know your role and you're doing everything you can to the best of your ability, that's all that matters. And that's why we're so close, because we're aware of that, and that's all right.
Will Huggins, one of the elder statesmen on the team, 23 years old, the 6th year of college football.
He's also big. Like, every time you see him out there in pads, you're like, man, that guy is big. And again, I have no idea what his role will look like. I don't know what the tight end position is going to look like. I know Jaren Kanak had a really strong camp. I think they're going to find ways to maybe get him the football a little bit. Carson Kent's a guy we've heard in that room a little bit. Caden Helms was having a good camp before he broke his hand. What's his availability look like early in the year? And then Will Huggins, who, again, I think he's going to, like, when they go 12 personnel, this guy's going to be on the field because I do think he's their best blocker.
In the red zone as well. I know that just in the limited time that we've been out there, they've focused on that.
And he's, in the scrimmages and team portions, he's scored some touchdowns. So I think he's somebody, again, he's not going to be Mark Andrews and score a 60-yard touchdown for you, but is he somebody that you're inside the 10, 15-yard line and you can throw it up to? Of course.
That'll be Jaren Kanak that's scoring the 60-yard touchdowns.
Possibly. That'd be awesome. I mean, look, I'm all aboard the Jaren Kanak train. I want him to be great.
And no shit. I mean, it does sound like he has made some steps that are put him in line to maybe be a major contributor at the tight end position.
And I think it's more of he's like a fullback. I don't think you're going to see. I mean, yes, he's going to be in line
fullback,
sometimes.
H-back, maybe more so like what you saw with Dimitri Flowers or somebody like that back in the day.
Or a Mikey Henderson.
Sure.
Somebody, Jeremiah Hall.
Yeah,
I think that he,
I don't know
something
if you
like
follow
that.
Mikey Henderson's road.
Yeah.
But certainly on the field.
In terms of the way they used him, though, on the field, I wonder. I mean, I don't know.
We'll all find out together. Maybe come August 30th. How about that? Or at least have a better idea as we get into this thing. So just 12 days from now, Oklahoma will be kicking off against Illinois State. For the rest of the week, we are expected to talk to some of the assistant coaches on Tuesday after practice. And I do find that interesting because there's a multiple number of positions, as we talked to Brent Venables about on last Friday, that there's still some positions up for grabs, namely maybe a quarterback position, offensive line certainly, defensive end possibly. I know we've already talked to Miguel Chavis.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this because we were talking about the depth chart coming out probably next week. There's going to be a lot of oars on the offensive line. I think running back, I think Torrey Blaylock has earned himself at least somewhere on the depth chart. I don't know where that is. I think offensive line, there'll be a lot. Tight end, you could convince me that it'll be Jaren Kanak or Will Huggins or Carson Kent or Caden Helms. Receiver, like I said, other than Burks and Satania. Then defense, I think corner especially, there's a lot. Defensive end, it's kind of crazy. I really think some of these are going to go into the season and they're going to give guys a lot of reps and see who plays well.
Interesting with Michigan week 2.
I know.
Just how that is going to be solidified here over the next couple of weeks, obviously going into the Michigan game week. We'll see. Yeah. And we'll be tracking it here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. Obviously, plenty of stories to come here over the next 12 days leading into kickoff, previewing the 2025 Oklahoma football season. For George Stoya, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We'll see you back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.